This is Under the Radar, where each week we look at different NBA players and teams that completely fell under the radar that week. On this show, we highlight all the good and the bad. And this week, there are a lot of bad. Let's get into it. Let's start things off on a positive note because I have a particular player that I want to shout out from the West. He plays for the Sacramento Kings, and his name is De'Aaron Fox. Let me tell you about De'Aaron Fox because this dude was going on a tear this week, going through teams left and right like it was nothing. His reign of terror first started with the Utah Jazz, where he got 18 points and 6 assists. Then he dropped it over to Golden State, where he dropped 39 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals. And if that wasn't enough, he went over to the Lakers, where he dropped 37 points and 8 assists in an overtime victory. He left the game hurt, bro. This man was going ballistic. They haven't won a game since he's been hurt. If I was the team, I would take his ankle, wrap it in duct tape, give him a Tylenol, and then throw him on the court. All kidding aside, they have a really solid roster with Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, JaVale McGee's underrated, obviously Sabonis. Before I let what I see, let's bring it over to my next player from the East. This next dude needs no introduction, and his last name says it all. Tyler Herro, with an extra R. I'm not going to speak on the Heat as a whole because it has been an absolute disaster this season. They are struggling a lot. They need LeBron, Wade, and Bosh to come back for just the season because they are going through it. These guys are super clutch when it comes to like fourth quarter, overtime, playoffs, big moments like that. But when it comes to the off season, these guys are NBA first team chokers, at least the last few seasons. Now let's bring it back to my boy Tyler Herro because he is on a revenge tour like we've never seen. It is the pettiest thing I have ever seen in my life. What he is doing right now is unbelievable. He had 28 points, 6 assists against Boston. They lost. 22 points against the Timberwolves. They lost. 35 points against the Bucks. They lost. 30 points against the Nets. They lost. And then against the Wizards, he had 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. 1 assist short of a triple-double. But they actually won that game. They haven't won that many games this season. I guess they need Tyler Herro to get a triple-double in order for them to win. So he's going to have to go full Westbrook for this season. I have a little bit of a surprise team from the West that's been doing really good this week. It's the Portland Trail Blazers. Who needs Dame? Who saw this coming? You have DeAndre Ayton, Malcolm Brogdon, Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, Matisse Thybulle, and Anthony Simons, who's hurt. These guys are on a 3-game win streak, and unless you're watching the Portland Trail Blazers network, nobody's talking about that. So that's where I come in. Let me fill you in on what's been going on in Portland. They beat Toronto, Detroit, Memphis. I'll get into Memphis, I promise you. With that 3-game win streak, it brings them to 3-3. They're undefeated so far in week 2, and they even won their in-season tournament game against Memphis. And the in-season tournament is a very simple thing that we are all interested in, correct? Here are my thoughts real quick on the in-season tournament. I think it's cool. I think the regular season has lost more and more of its value just because it's such a long season. I think the second half of the season is where things start to get interesting. People are fighting for playoff spots. People are fighting for seeds. So I think the in-season tournament being in the beginning is a cool way to kind of spice it up. I think the jerseys are cool. I think the courts are cool. I love the amount of coverage we're getting. I just think the incentive is weak and it's a little too complicated. That's my quick 2 cents on the in-season tournament. Let me get back to Portland. They're winning games and they have a lot of injuries, so it's really showing how much depth they have. I think over time, once they start gelling together a little bit more, you never know with Portland. Now, I usually save the bad teams for the end, but I really want to just dive into this bad team on the West. The Memphis Grizzlies. Again, this is the only team in the National Basketball Association that has not won a single game this season. This is a league where teams are tanking and rebuilding. Even the Wizards have won a game this season. They lost to the Trailblazers, who didn't have Scoot Henderson or Anthony Simons. In fact, was I playing? I wasn't playing that game. But still, man, oh my God, I have never expected the Grizzlies to be this bad. Now, Ja, between us, I would suspend yourself for a few more games or maybe fake an injury, man, because you have quite the work to put in when you get back. But it is still early on in the season. Who knows what can happen? Now, my good team for the East has been very impressive this week. I am looking at the Brooklyn Nets. Can you believe that? These guys had a 3-game win streak until Boston came in and ruined it. They beat Charlotte, Miami, Chicago, back to back to back. They were on a tear. As the recording of this video, they are in 3-3 so far. Now the Nets have some good pieces, but I need a moment. I have to talk about Ben Simmons. You heard that right. Not only is Ben Simmons playing basketball on purpose, but he even dunked the ball. It almost looks like he wants to play regardless of the $37 million he's owed this year. We did not forget about that contract, bro. You need to do a lot more than 4 points in a game. But on the flip, the one game they lost was the one game Ben Simmons didn't play. Ben Simmons aside, Cam Thomas is that dude. He doesn't care what court he shows up to. It could be Boston, it could be Miami, it could be the local YMCA. He's gonna drop 30 on you. Shout out to Cam Thomas, bro. I hope Brooklyn's as loud as I am about him, because he is going crazy. Of course, you still have Bridges doing what he does every single night. I'm happy to see Dinwiddie on a little bit of a comeback tour going off. And Finney Smith's doing okay too. This team has a lot of good pieces, man. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Brooklyn. Now, I said this show highlights the good and the bad. And I told you that we had bad. So my team for the East, I saved the best for last. The Washington Wizards. Usually I'll have a little clip playing for you on the side as I talk, but I'm not going to talk. I'm just gonna show you what they've been up to these last few weeks. Take a look at this one.
Avdia. Corner 3 on the way by Poole. No.
What are you doing, bro? That was the most embarrassing basketball play I think I've ever seen. You don't even need to watch basketball to know that was hilarious. A no-look 3, and you bricked. You won one game this season. Unfortunately, it does not stop there. I got one more clip for you.
Steal, ahead to Poole. Poole off the backboard to Kuzma. He slams. Crowd here at State Farm Arena not happy with that Harlem Globetrotter play.
Even if I was a die-hard Wizards fan, with the Wizards logo tattooed on both my legs and back, this would not bring me joy. Now, I understand there's a lot of basketball players that like to have fun. That's completely fine. But stop this. Stop this right now. This was an away game, and you're losing. Read the room. As of today, they have won a singular game this entire season. Now this hurts because I thought Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, I thought both of them were overlooked. So I thought seeing them together on the Wizards, some magic would happen. If I was the coach and you do plays like that, 5-game suspension. You lowered the value of our franchise by just a little bit by embarrassing us that much. I was not kidding when I said we had bads this week. Anyway, what I missed, who am I sleeping on? Let me know in the comments wherever you feel like it. This is Under the Radar. I'm Jay. I'll be back next week.